Hello. Am I audible? This is Ritu here.
Hi, Ritu.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi,
Hi,
Ritu. How are
Vivek.
you?
I can see Vivek. Hi, I'm good. Okay, can we just have a quick round of introduction so that we'll just know who all are there.
You want
Hi,
to start
Ritu.
with
We
me?
have about 20 members here.
All right. Okay.
21. We'll wait for a minute.
Sure, sure. Hi, Rajdeep.
Hi, hi,
How are
Ritu.
you?
Good, good.
This is the first
Surviving.
time we are interacting. I think all of us.
So
All of us
Gopal,
are
there
saying.
are
Yeah,
two
absolutely.
sessions.
Absolutely.
There is this also. You choose which one you want.
Absolutely.
This one is on real estate. But the perils of real estate during COVID-19. Do you need that?
Hello Rajdeep, how are you?
Real estate and COVID-19 embargo.
I am good. I'm good.
Real estate and COVID-19 embargo.
Nice to see you after a long time, man.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I request everybody else to please mute themselves so that we have a very seamless webinar. It will be very harsh for me to just mute everyone. So if you can just volunteer and mute yourself, I will be doing the same. Right. Good evening, everybody. With the permission of Ritu, I'll commence today's webinar on real estate and the COVID-19 embargo, a really very critical topic in today's times. The topic is very close to both me and Ritu, especially Ritu, who has got a fantastic and an in-depth experience in the real estate sector. Of course, we have a lot of construction companies who've joined us, I think, with us. And we're very, really intrigued to know the in-depth and the insights of this industry, where I feel that not much has been spoken about in the host of webinars that are being, broadcasted everywhere. And so Ritu, I'll just quickly give a very brief introduction, even though whatever will be said will be very small in comparison to the amount of experience that Ritu possesses with her. So amongst the other things that she's got experience in the transaction, litigation, non-litigation fora of the real estate sector, amongst the other things. And the most highlight part, which I really want to say, is that she has been a Woman Achiever Award on the International Women's Day 2017 and has been a nominee for Pan India Nari Shakti Awards in the year 2018. Fantastic feat. It is really a privilege to have Ritu with us speaking on the real estate. This is Rajdeep on behalf of the Corporate Legal. Ritu, over to you.
My God, Rajdeep, that was a fantabulous introduction. Thank you so much. In fact, it's been a privilege, and the journey with Corporate Legal has been truly, truly, truly awesome. So let me congratulate congratulate you especially for taking these extra efforts for, making the legal fraternity and all of us come and speak our mind. Okay, so thank you so much. Congratulations to you. Now, I will, in fact, start immediately about the topic today. And as the name suggests, leaving the real estate side, the embargo itself speaks volumes about what the real estate industry is facing today, and it has been facing since time from the past 2-3 years, maybe. Now, it is kind of, a dictum which has been forcefully stopping real estate from really making the kind of progress that the industry has been actually needing to, and it deserves, because it is an industry which contributes a high amount to the GDP, and you cannot rule out the fact that it is the indispensable need of all of us. I mean, whether it is residential or it is commercial or it is industrial. Now, having said this, and not getting into a lot of legality, technical legality too much, because we have people from all the participants are lawyers, and we have the non-legal people also here. So I'll try to keep it as simple in order that it is understandable by the participants here. So in fact, I would appreciate the fact that if we have questions at the end of the session, with the permission of, Rajdeep, of course, he is the moderator of the webinar. So taking it forward from here, I would like to have this session divided into two parts mainly. First, into account in the past 2-3 years, because that has impacted a great deal on the fact that the industry today is actually facing that kind of a brunt. Now, when we speak about in the past 2-3 years, we all know that the industry has been facing a lot of delay in possessions due to regulatory reforms, due to enactments which have kind of put it into a kind of a frame structure in a frame where they needed to do a lot of reformative things at their end. Having said this, the discipline that the industry required, it was coming out of that after the enactment of the RERA. Post 2017, the industry was streamlining a bit, and this has hit it hard, because still there was enough scope for the industry to revive from the impact that it has already been facing. Now, there are two aspects again in this. One is the legal part of it, which has hit the industry. And there are three sectors where the real estate is prominently seen. First is the residential, second is the commercial, and third is industrial. Now, the most important part here that I would like to highlight today is the industrial part, because residential and commercial is what we all think when we talk about real estate. But that is not so. Real estate is a very wide connotation, which imbibes in itself the industrial sector, which has been actually not looked into from the point of view of the actual contribution that real estate is actually making. Now, a very small example that I would like to quote here in terms of the fact that how real estate impacts each one of us, right from the retail to the industrial setups that we see. All kind of setups, we talk about any kind of industry, we talk of any kind of startup or an MSME or an SME or a small office space, it starts from a real estate space. Now, are we really looking at real estate from the point of view of only one vertical of the real estate? We are just focusing on the residential or the commercial. You cannot look at it in the standalone perspective, because real estate is a wider connotation, and every industry, every office setup, any kind of setup, establishment that you're looking at in the times to come or times immemorial, it is going to start with the basic of real estate. You cannot rule it out. So though there is a slump and the industry is badly hit, it is not over. People who are saying that the real estate is over, other people who are sitting peacefully in their homes, which is a part of real estate. So when we have a focus shift from residential and commercial, we have a wider sector, which is an opportunity in these times and the times to come, where we have to really focus on. Now, the focus shift doesn't mean that the residential is going to suffer or the commercial is going to suffer, which I'll be coming to in the second session, because that will be more of a very generic outlook when it comes to the state of real estate. But legally speaking, when you talk about industrial setups, there have been amendments to the requisite acts which are going to encourage the industrial establishments. Now, when we are talking about real estate here, and as a part of this session, I'm talking about pan-India, and I'm not restricting my scope of the inputs only to Maharashtra or any particular state. So when we're talking about pan-India, there have been relaxations which are in propositions, which are going to see the dawn of the day when we are going to encourage a lot of these kind of industrial setups in our country. Now, it is not only about the manufacturing or automotive sector, it is also about the MSMEs, because that is the sector which is going to be
Ritu, you're not audible. Hello. Hello.
Ritu, can you hear me? I think we are facing some technical glitches. Ritu, can you hear me?
डिव्हाइस ऑडिओच्या थ्रू जॉईन व्हायला पाहिजे ना, म्हणजे तो आता जसं तू जॉईन केलीस किंवा मग हेडफोन लावायचे. तर मॅडमनी ते काही केलं नसेल ना, तू जसं करत होती.
Yeah, Rajdeep, am I audible?
Yeah, you were not audible for a few
I got
seconds
disconnected. Yeah, I got disconnected actually.
problem,
So
no
I have
problem.
logged
Yeah,
in again.
yeah.
All right. So taking it, I don't know where I got disconnected, but then the crux of the whole thing remains that the focus may shift a bit from the residential and commercial, but that doesn't take off the real estate per se from the market, right? Now, coming back to the demand of the commercial spaces, now the focus suppose goes to the commercial spaces where there is the new normal connotation which is making rounds, that the need for the commercial spaces may see a fall in demand. But the other perspective here is that then that might be a gain for the residential, because now people might be looking at better spaces, from where they can operate. Now, this is going to be a section of the people who would be able to operate from their residences and not the entire section. There are still industries, and we're talking about industrial setups, which will have to essentially operate from commercial spaces. And speaking about these are the MSMEs and SMEs. Now, not every workforce is going to be operating from the residences. So the demand is going to be divided, but the demand for real estate will not go out. So that is the first thing, and that is the bottom line of the times to come. Now, the entire perspective here, the entire onus here is looking at the entire situation in a broader perspective, where I think every industry is seeing some kind of a pitfall. Every industry has been hit badly by this pandemic, and none of the industries are really talking about being washed out. So when real estate is still an asset, I mean, investing in a real estate, a residential or a commercial premise still is a better and the safest option available, which can give you a long-term return on that. And there are people who are still willing to invest in real estate. Now, going on the second part of the whole discussion here is about the formative and the policy decisions which need to be taken in order that the real estate market gets a revival, it gets a reboot. Now, when we are talking about the efforts being made by CREDAI, there have been suggestions from their end about flushing in a lot of money from the government. They have been demanding that so that they are able to actually, finish the projects which are already delayed. The most important aspect here is that the policy decisions are the decisions which are not something which are in control of people like you and me, but there are legalities to it, where having said that, we all have a remedial course of action if suppose these things are not met. Now, when in tandem, the government, the builder lobby and the consumer sentiment goes hand in hand, there the demand for the real estate is going to see a slow but steady revival. Now, this time frame that we are talking about is something which may vary from 2 years to 3 years, because there is still a lot of unsold inventory which is lying, which the builder community is not willing to or is forced to hold because of the cash crunch in hand, the situation that they are into, and the customer, the consumer sentiment that being out of job. Now there are industries which are going to be impacted. See, so now you have seen that it is a multiplicity of so many aspects which is impacting this industry like the other industries. So first thing is that, you know, we all have to be in consensus with this particular fact that real estate is not the only industry which has been impacted and badly hit, because it is a part of the supply chain, the same supply chain that the other industries are. So there are equal number of factors which are impacting the demand, the sale, and the ultimate revival of the industry. Now, the policy decisions, the other aspect of this is the policy decisions or the formulative things which we need to really look into are maybe, you know, the single window clearances, and there are other aspects in real estate which, if taken care of, can really give a boost to the real estate industry. One important factor, of course, remains that the GST compliances, the GST aspect of it, then the stamp duty registration aspect of it. These are the aspects which have to be looked at from a more, you know, focus centric perspective in today's time frame, which may give a kind of the boost or the support that the industry is really looking at. Now, like I said, that I will restrict my session basically on the legalities involved in the real estate sector. Whatever things are today available in terms of the legal handle that we have today, a lot of talk has been done already about the force majeure. And with regard to the real estate, where the industry has already been, the industry has already made propositions to the government, and they have already got respite in that they have got 3 months extension, and now the extension will get extended further based on the lockdown. Now, they have also asked for the moratorium period to be extended by a year. And now, the important aspect here is that none of the parties, whether it is the builder or it is the allottee, the person who has booked a flat or a commercial space, is going to get anything automatically. It's not a blanket force majeure that can be invoked. Now, this 3 months extension, of course, is granted by the government, but there has to be a proper process which needs to be followed, and the site of RERA has to be, the builder has to upload all the requisite details and has to file the documents supporting that. Now, there the very important thing is that the delays have to be actually attributable to the corona situation. So there cannot be a blanket force majeure remedy which is available to the builders. So this becomes very important aspects. The builders who have already delayed in handing over the possession beyond the limit prior to this pandemic was declared as a calamity and a disaster to commensurate with the definitions as provided by the Disaster Management Act and the RERA, under the RERA, they will not get any respite in that, right? So force majeure is not a blanket remedy available to the builders. Now, the second aspect here is about the commercial legal licenses. Now, there are industries which are, there are establishments, there are organizations which are seeking this under the force majeure. Now, one very important aspect is that there are organizations which are running from the residences, and they are not actually going to the workplace because of the lockdown situation. But the organizations and the establishments which are able to generate revenue while working from home may not be able to really take recourse to the force majeure. Now, like I said, that there are provisions available, but of course, this is one of a kind of a pandemic which nobody had actually, nobody had predicted about this. So none of the agreements, none of the contracts will have the specific connotation of coronavirus pandemic. But having said that, it is a calamity, and it is actually not enabling, it is actually a deterrent in the working of the businesses, conducting of the businesses. But like I said, that it is very, very important for each establishment to really prove that they have had no income generated while operating from their workplaces. So each industry type is different, each establishment is different, and that will play a very important role. The second aspect to hear it, of course, I have my litigation colleagues also here, and they will be able to really enlighten all of us on this aspect more. But I think that people now, at this point in time, are not too much keen on going into litigation, because that again is a cost. And this is a time when I think so everybody is on the revival mode, and litigation, though we may see a rise in litigation, a lot of establishments will be cutting costs there, and a mediation kind of a thing is being worked out. A couple of our clients also are doing the same thing. Now, this is the second aspect, very important aspect of it. Now, like I said, that the real estate industry during the corona situation and post the corona situation. Now, we have already seen how it was prior to the COVID-19. During the COVID-19, I think so it's just a fallback of the entire situation which was prior to this. They have got a lot of other aspects which have come into force. The important aspect here is about the labor. Now, with the lockdown situation and the situation which is created, we may see, I'm using the word may, we may see a costlier man-force at the work site. Now, this is another aspect which may impact the real estate cost. With the unsold inventory at an all-time high, with the residential, with the projects already facing delays, with the newer threat of the availability of labor, may add on to the further delay in the projects. Now, there a very important aspect which may come into force is whether that can be taken as a force majeure reason post the COVID-19 situation, when construction activity may begin. Okay. Now, we really are in no position today to really gauge when the construction activity in the urban areas will start, especially in in few states in India. But whenever that does, this is going to be another very important aspect to it. Now, having said this, the multiplicity of the enactments, the multiplicity of dependency of each organization, each activity on the sector, there is going to be a delay in the settlement of this industry. But a more regulated approach, a more no profit, no loss approach, more focus on the affordable marketing, affordable housing sector, more focus on commercial spaces which can accommodate MSMEs, may see a revival and revival of this sector. Now, this, like I had started with the session, very important part here is that the stability in this sector may take 2 to 3 years time, because of the delays which are attributable to this kind of a situation, and the multiplicity of the other industries which the industry is dependent on. Now, here, a very important aspect to all of this, the real estate industry, is like when I had started, that the focus, if the economy has to be rebooted, the focus has to shift from maybe the residential and commercial to the industrial establishments. This is a very good opportunity for the industries to really see a dawn of the day in India. Now, when we talk about that, a lot of relaxation in the compliances, in the regulatory aspects, in the land availability part of it, needs to be done by the government and the state governments. The local laws have to be more flexible and accommodative in terms of the fact that they can accommodate the industrial setup. Now, when we come to the state of Maharashtra, there have been amendments to the laws which, like for instance, we have seen an amendment in 2016 to the Maharashtra Tenancy and Agricultural Land Act, which in section 63 and 63(1)(a respectively, which is sale to a non-agriculturalist. So there we can see that there are existing provisions which can actually encourage the establishments to actually move in the state and India vis-a-vis India also. But the relaxations have to be really, they have to be aggressive. They have to be extremely flexible, and the hand-holding has to be there from the government. So coming back from the industrial setup, which will again a few states may gain from that, seeing the situation as of now. But having said that, the real estate industry is going to be, equally impacted like the other industries are. This is what I predominantly feel. The going back to the beginning of the session when I said that residential sector, there have been proposals from the government also. There have been it has been proposed by the government that the builders should actually go in for a no profit, no loss selling of the unsold inventory, which will release a lot of funds to them, which will make a lot of money available to the government also. And the commercial sector, if you see from that perspective, the need of the hour may not be the co-working spaces, but the co-working spaces can have, they may have to make changes in their structures so as to accommodate the ITES and the BPOs and the call centers, because these are the more cluttered office spaces, which will have to give way for a larger space for each individual to operate from. Now here exactly why I wanted to make this point was that where we are saying that the commercial spaces or the large commercial spaces may not actually be in demand, but there is another view to this, that the large commercial spaces may be more in demand because now they have to accommodate and they have to actually follow the guidelines which have been laid down during this COVID-19. So like I said, that this is going to be a wait and watch for most of the people who are related to this industry, whether it is the investor class, whether this is, I'm talking about builders or the real estate facilitators, whether they are investors, they are practitioners, they are consultants, or there are people who are wanting to, lease or let out their properties. Now, all of this is, the crux of all of this is that we are looking at all industries, we are looking at all sectors, we are talking about all the enactments, we are talking about all the laws here. But the predominant and the most important part of all this, the ingredient is real estate. Now, you cannot rule out the element of real estate from any of the industry type. Whatever you are doing, you talk about the warehousing sector, you talk about hospitality sector, you talk about health, you talk about education, you talk about working spaces, you talk about working from home, everything is surrounding, it is all based on real estate. So that remains the crux of the entire, the industry. So I think the need to look at real estate is from the point of view, a very different perspective, where we are really looking at it from an industry which is over. It has to be looked at an industry which is going to see a lot of restructuring, a lot of discipline, a lot of reorganizing in terms of the fact that what kind of real estate is going to be the demand and the need of the times to come. Now, based on that, the focus will keep on dwindling between residential, commercial, and industrial. Now, with the agricultural sector, with the economy predominantly right now dependent on the agrarian economy, we are also seeing a boost in the agricultural sector. So we can always look up to a fact where people may have farmhouse plots, they may start investing in these kind of plots more. So that again is an element of real estate in that. So the very important thing which I would like to convey time and again, and which I have been in fact saying from my session right from the beginning of this session, is the fact that the real estate sector really needs to be looked at from a very different perspective. it is not a sector which is it is in doldrums, but it is not a sector which is over, because it would be really, it will be impossible to remove the element of real estate from any businesses. Wherever you operate from, whatever is the industry type, wherever you're focusing on, the crux remains real estate. So real estate is the basis of all the industries. The only thing is, where the focus needs to shift is something which the times to come will decide. So we have to wait and watch, because I think that is the need of hour for all the other businesses also. We're talking about mergers and acquisitions. We are talking about incorporations of offices, new businesses, industrial setups. We are talking about residential real estate, which is low, but we cannot rule out that it is an industry which is over, right? So I think that is the whole embargo, which the COVID-19 embargo is an impediment on the progress that the real estate industry, which would have seen if the COVID-19 wouldn't have been there. But post COVID-19, the industry is going to see certain reformative and regulatory, effects which will come into force for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, this is what I can cover in this session as of now, because like I said, that we have the participants from all the industry types. We have lawyers and we have non-lawyers also. So I did not want to quote really a lot of sections into that, but the two important aspects that we wanted to really cover here was the force majeure and to what it will be applicable. So force majeure under RERA, the builders have already called for it, and they have already approached the authority, and the 3 months extension is already being granted, but it is not available to the builders on its own. It's not applicable, without providing a sufficient proof that the delays have been on account of this particular situation. So post 3 months, the situation has to be really seen. What, in light of the extended lockdowns, which we are seeing right now, what really is the course of action which is taken by the government, and then it will be applicable likewise. And the force majeure for the different industries also will also be dependent on the various aspects as to what was provided in the contract. And of course, the doctrine of frustration is something which will be available, a remedy for most of the contractual agreements. But in cases of construction activity, the doctrine of frustration doesn't apply unless and until there is a proper force majeure clause. So these are the technicalities of the applicability and the implementation of the force majeure. So this is the important outline to the industry pre, during, and post COVID-19 situation. Over to you, Rajdeep. If you want me to really touch upon something specific, I can always do that.
Thank you, Ritu. I was really engrossed into the depth that you went, and the depth that you intended to go. It was really educative, and so I'll open the doors for the members who are viewing this. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, I'm reiterating that you may ask me through the chat box, or you may unmute yourself, and you can please ask Ritu. She is the right person for real estate, any kinds of problems, and she's like the point person. So if there is any questions that you all need to ask, any queries as to what will the markets look like. Ritu has already spoken about various reformative policies that may be passed, and I think the government is looking forward to these kind of policies being implemented, or they are thinking it's in the pipeline. So if there is any question that you need to ask, please do.
Rajdeep, can I ask one question?
Sir, you're an extremely senior member, sir. So please do.
Because I'm not
Naveen-ji.
allowed. So I'm not allowed.
No, sir, please.
Absolutely, sir.
I will
Please.
have to take your permission, sir. Please do.
Ritu, good evening. It was a wonderful
Very
session.
good evening. Thank you so much, sir.
Ritu, just one query. Like, I don't know how many members here, but all my hard-earned earnings of my life,
Mhm.
and I'm being very frank, are stuck in real estate. And
Okay.
two PE-supported builders who I trusted the most are the one who have cheated us the most. Presently, I'm stuck with actually in Gurgaon. Ritu, there is this real estate which has like many phases. Huh? In our phase 4, there are some flats which were low priced,
Okay.
were sold earlier actually at a certain price.
Mhm.
And they both have possession linked and construction linked. And then there were ours, which were like much bigger flats and much superior constructions, and also possession linked and construction linked. So now the builder is nowhere, and even the PE has taken away. Now KKR is after this project because they had landed a huge lot.
Mhm.
Tell me, what are the options available to us? Because KKR is taking them to NCLT, and we want our own flat. What are the options available to us?
So RERA is the best option available, obviously, because the remedies are absolutely, the proceedings are really fast, and you are in a lottery absolutely clearly. So I think RERA is the best option available to you, but I would save all my opinions on this.
On the, I couldn't hear you, Ritu.
I think she's cut off. I think she's facing some technical glitch. But Ritu, okay, I think till the time she's back, Navinji, it's a very critical question because there will always be this tussle between RERA and IBC, between real estate practitioners and
What I
practitioners of
want to
NCLT.
actually ask now, what is the next best course available? Because, you know, she might have said something. See, I have been a public servant in Haryana state, right? So I know houses. I like in my short span of 7 years of service in government utility, I must have had like 30 IS officers who I either reported or participated in the board meetings as a company secretary.
Right.
So
You know,
no. I in fact got muted out. I think so. I got disconnected again. So yeah, what I suggested was that RERA is the best option available for you. But I would save my opinion for, I mean, after I get more details from you, sir. So we can always connect after this session, and I can take more
actually,
details from you.
what happens is what you're saying is correct, but you have to have that confidence in RERA also, because the point from where I'm coming, a state like Gurgaon, which is high stake, just like Mumbai, in terms of real estate, there are warring groups, there are bias groups who take up senior government positions, and I can actually vouch for people even in Haryana RERA who have got vested interest with the builders, and all, they will decide what they are asked to decide. So there, you know, what is the next best option was my question actually. See, RERA is all proceeding. They have asked us to form an association, and they have also prepared some mitigation plan. They've asked us, but I'm saying if at all somebody is not happy with RERA's decision, what should we be doing? In your
as
opinion?
a lawyer, I can just suggest you that like you have already said that NCLT has been already initiated. I mean, they are already approaching NCLT and RERA. So these are the best machineries today available, where the you know, the proceedings are really very fast. And
I'll just interrupt. We are at the end of this session. Using the same login ID, members can again re-log in. Okay, Ritu, that goes on for everybody.
I'm in the group.
We are
Yes,
in the
absolutely.
same login. We'll reconnect using the same login. So we can talk till the time it terminates.
Yeah, I think Umesh Srivastav has got a question. He actually, yeah, you have